What's going on, everyone? Gilman with LaVolpe back with our daily Apple update video where we take a look at how Apple stock traded, some key support and resistance levels, and based on that what the future for the stock could look like. So if you enjoy these videos, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. I try to do these videos on a daily basis, and then comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are moving forward. So, I mean, it hasn't been a pretty week, right? Crazy amounts of, Dow falling, S&P falling, NASDAQ falling, Apple falling, right? No different than the overall market. And, taking a look at the one-day chart here, what we see is, in the after hours, we had a huge drop. That happened as I made yesterday's video. If you guys watched that, you saw that, we were chilling, trading in the 115s, 116s. Boom, we dropped all the way down to 109, came up a little after hours, but we opened up around 111. And then it was another sell-off. So we started the day 111, made a huge drop. Let me zoom into the kind of trading hours. Made a huge drop, tried to make it to VWAP, rejected, came back down, rejected, and then we barely made an attempt at it towards kind of the close there. So overall weakness in the market, but if we compare it to NASDAQ, down 2.5%. Gap down, struggled all day. Dow was down 138 points, so not as much as tech stocks, but still down for the day. And then S&P was down about 1%. So in comparison to that, right, let's take a look at Amazon, which was down 5.5%. QQQ, which we just looked at, NASDAQ 2.5%. Microsoft was down 1.1%. Google is actually one of the only stocks from like the ones I follow where they reported earnings yesterday and they're up today. Amazon's down, Apple's down, and most of the stocks I follow are down. So Apple is down $6.46 today, which is 5.6%. Huge drop. Let's take a look at some of the earnings and why that could have happened. So, taking a look at what happened, right? So as we know, Apple delayed their iPhone announcement, which meant that iPhone came out in in October rather than September, right? Typically it's in September. And so if it's in September, they can include that as, typically within their quarter. Now that it's a month later, they're not able to include it in that quarter, which is kind of, one of the reasons why we're going to talk about the reason they missed their iPhone sale. So EPS, they beat, right? 73 cents versus 70 estimated. Revenue was 64.7 that they beat. They're up 1% year over year, right? No decline. The thing they missed though is the iPhone revenue, 26.44 billion versus 27.9 billion estimated. And yes, right, it's down 20% year over year, but what you have to understand is people are looking forward to the new iPhone, right? Come late summer, right? July, August, unless your phone breaks and you need a new phone, you might as well wait a month or two until September and get the latest and greatest iPhone. So the fact that's down, right, is not much of a surprise. I think it just carries into the next quarter, personally speaking. Services was up. Other products revenue was higher. Mac revenue was way higher, right? As people work from home and probably buy new laptops. That's up $1 billion. So that almost right there makes up for, the iPhone revenue loss right there. iPad was 6.8. So those two easily make up the iPhone revenue, but it's more the sentiment that iPhone missed revenue. Gross margin was great too. The one thing though is they didn't offer guidance because of uncertainty related to the coronavirus pandemic. So they didn't do that, but they also didn't do guidance for the previous 2 quarters, right? So moving forward, they basically typically will be like, hey, here's what we're sort of expecting as we move into the quarter. They refused to do that this year. Again, understandable, right? It's coronavirus. And then, sales in China went down. But Cook also said that he was optimistic about iPhone 12, right? Initial data points are really good. So now we have both the iPhone 12 initial release, which again is the first 5G phone, so a lot of people are probably going to upgrade, and holiday season all in one quarter, which should mean typically a really good quarter for Apple. Hopefully moving forward, right? But a lot of, like I said, and a lot of investors are focusing on how it's going to happen this year, right? and I said this, meaning the sales from the new devices aren't counting this quarter, so it is selling well. It just wasn't included in this quarter because of the 1 month delay. So that's sort of the earnings. Now let's take a look at the stocks. I mean, if we take a look at, I'll do like the weekly Apple update video so we could see how this week was, but we're down about 5% today. As you know, we were down again, or previously. Now, if we were to go out here, a lot of these top lines don't really matter as much anymore, but I'll keep them on there, so hopefully we can get back up there one day. But what we see is we haven't been this low in the high 108s to 109, even dropping as low as 107, as we go all the way back to late September, which was about a month ago. But you know, as we do that, so the low for today was 107.72. If we go here, the low for that day was 107.67. Like I said, right, it's always great to look at the previous time we were kind of in this free fall, in this falling state, and where we found support there. So there we found support in the 107.67. Today we found support at 107.72. Something to look out for. And then below that would be kind of the 105s, and then there was a time when we hit this 103 as we drew the lower high, lower low. Now, so point being, we could find support. I think first level of support is here in the 107s. Then we have support in the 106s and 105s, and then if we continue to drop, we have support in 103. Could we drop through all of those? That being that next week is election, sure, absolutely. That's just something I want to kind of put in your guys' mind, that a lot of what's happening in the market right now has less to do with the actual company, right, in this case Apple, as it does the overall market uncertainty. What is the market uncertain of right now? They're not necessarily uncertain of, okay, who's going to win, Biden or Trump. Either way, the stock market has done well under Democratic presidents and Republican presidents. You know, so whatever it is, right? Some people might say, oh, Republican presidents are better for the stock market. Not necessarily true. Look at the research. You know, it doesn't matter is my point. But the point is, we don't know, right? We don't know if it's going to be a clear victory. We don't know if it's going to get dragged on for months and then we're going to declare a victor. Whatever it is, right? It's more uncertainty for the market. That's why a lot of people are sort of locking in profits and kind of waiting through election. I personally have had 2 bad trading days this week, and because of, you know, the election next week, I'm looking to lighten my positions as well until after the election. Just something to consider. If you think, you know what's going to happen and it's going to be up and we're going to bounce from here, great, right? But it's always good to exercise caution and to stick to your trade plan. You know, moving up, this 112s that would hold as support typically held up a bunch of times. I think now serves as a little bit of a resistance point, or at least a point where we consolidate for a little bit rather than breaking through it. And then the high for today, which was 111.99, so around that point, or 112. So yeah, 112, then 113, and then 110 would be kind of a mental resistance. I would take a look at the moving average lines, but they're all the way up there because this drop is so sudden that, you know, none of this has really been factored in. But the 89 EMA is at 108.68, which we're pretty close to right now. So I would look to that actually before the 107s as hopefully a good point of support as well. So yeah, what happens next week? So elections Tuesday. Again, I would caution you guys, for those of you that are still in trades, to just be careful around that time frame. Uncertainty is very high. Anything can happen. And so just to be careful and make sure to stick to your trade plan and all that good stuff. Again, I'm personally long-term bullish on Apple. Until I see something otherwise, I'm going to continue to hold stock and then trade options for short-term volatility, excuse me. So I'm going to continue holding those stocks, but I'm going to kind of slow down on the options trading for the time being. That's all I had for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop that like button, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are. Hope you guys all have an amazing weekend. I'll make a weekly Apple update video to kind of look at some things from the past week, and then what the future could look like. Remember that there are two catalysts coming up in the stimulus and in vaccines, but when that happens, we don't know. So the first thing to look forward to is the election. So yeah, hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.